Canada has been considered pretty uninvestable for a lot of international investors for quite a long period of time. And so it wouldn't take that much to turn this. The Canadian dollar has been smashed. So I actually converted a bunch of different funds from US dollars, Canadian dollars fairly recently when the US dollar spiked. Figured there's like kind of diversifying that currency exposure. And I suspect that there's some reasonable chance that a person will be able to get that as a little bit of a tailwind on any Canadian dollar denominated assets. So does that mean, it's great to move back to Canada? So first of all, I would say that obviously if you want to move to Canada, I'm from Canada. Canada's got lots of things to appreciate. It has always had lots of things to appreciate. So, not taking away from any of those. And if a person was going to go, they probably were going to go anyway. This being said, is the environment from the perspective of business, tax, freedom, stuff like that likely to improve? Probably it will. Trudeau was like pretty hardcore woke, pretty hardcore WEF agenda type guy. I certainly have no intentions of moving back to Canada now, or actually, to be honest, I never have any intentions of moving back to Canada. I think my conclusion, having lived abroad for quite a few years now, is that everything that I like about Canada, I can find a better version of somewhere else. So I will always go back to visit family and friends, and there's always wonderful things in that regard. But I certainly would not move back on the basis of this. I think things would need to be very terrible elsewhere for me to consider that. Is it a reason that a person should consider not leaving? I would suspect that you will probably not find that it is going to have a super meaningfully improvement from a tax policy standpoint. So probably they will get rid of the carbon tax. That's something that's been deeply unpopular. So I would suspect they would do away with that. There's a decent chance, I think, that you'll see some easing up on corporate tax policies. Conservatives tend to be more in favor of that. I think you can kind of see with the Trump administration, there's just sort of a general move in that direction, which is interesting. So that's probably going to happen. Far from certain, but probably. Will it be like super awesome? No, it probably will not be super awesome. It will probably continue to be pretty high tax. Maybe they will roll back they'd increased the capital gains from 50% to 66% over 250,000. Maybe they will go and they will roll that back. Something, there's sort of things they can improve at the margins that will make it somewhat more attractive. But on the whole, in terms of being like really friendly for businesses in that regard, I kind of doubt it. I think they will probably push for some sort of kind of ways of attracting investment, and that could be helpful. One of the big complaints has been housing prices have just been outrageous in a lot of Canada, in particular Vancouver and Toronto areas. That problem, I think, is like a slow, challenging problem to solve. So even if somebody came along who had the wherewithal and all these sorts of things and understand the system, I don't think that they would be in a situation where they would be able to change it very quickly.